Congressman Tom McClintock. Congressman, thanks for making the time.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Chris. Thanks for having me.
You came out strongly opposed to the latest $3 trillion, what they called a stimulus bill, but you did vote for the initial stimulus package. What differentiated this one from the last one?
Well, the initial stimulus package included what was absolutely critical in the liquidity crisis. It released liquidity to companies to preserve jobs so that temporary job losses wouldn't become permanent job losses. But I warned at the time that that was no substitute for reopening America immediately for a very simple reason. The government doesn't finance the economy. The economy finances the government. There seems to be this notion on the left that government just can write checks and support the economy indefinitely. It doesn't work that way. It's exactly the opposite. Government cannot put a single dollar into the economy that it first hasn't taken out of that same economy. If I take a dollar from Peter and give it to Paul, Paul's going to have an extra dollar to spend. Peter's got exactly one less dollar to spend, so there is no stimulus effect. It's simply a transfer, and very inefficient one at that.
Yeah, it's the money tree notion. Now that AOC runs the United States House of Representatives, that whole money tree concept is what guides the Democrats. The last time you came on, you said that policies out there by government, not the China virus, but the government policies are what, in essence, shot our economy in the head. And you can see that in stark display in the state that I call the People's Republic of California. Is that what's going on out there in your view?
Well, 4 million people have lost their jobs just in our state alone. What's the number now nationally? 36 million. This is a tragedy of unprecedented proportions, and it's all self-inflicted. I think it will go down in our nation's history as the most self-destructive folly ever pursued by a government.
All right. Last week, I think the L.A. County Public Health Director said that he was looking to extend these shutdown orders for the next 3 months. But Gavin Newsom coming out today and signaling that he wants to start releasing some of these lockdown orders. What do you think is going on here in the once golden state?
Well, first of all, don't forget that Newsom's relaxing of the lockdown is followed by page after page of bureaucratic regulations, some 99 things you've got to do before you can begin to reopen a restaurant. Meanwhile, every day, jobs that were temporarily lost are becoming permanently lost. To me, this was folly from the beginning. Yes, it can slow the spread of disease, but it won't stop it. And ultimately, it will catch up with the same people that whose spread it slowed earlier in the season.
I wanted you to weigh in on something. There's a woman in my I'm a proud Texan now. I got here as fast as I could. But hometown was San Diego. That's where I used to live. It's where I was born and raised. And there's a lady there, Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez. I believe she was the one who told Elon Musk to go blank himself when he said he was thinking about coming to Texas because of the onerous regulations out there. She passed a bill that basically was intended, she thought, to make businesses pony up and to not be able to treat people like independent contractors. But what she ended up doing was killing Uber and Lyft and all of the folks who participate in the gig economy. They're all leaving the state of California, and they can't get by right now with all these shutdowns. I mean, talk about unintended consequences, yes?
Well, that's exactly right. And of course, the exodus out of California began quite some time ago as high taxes and high regulations driven businesses and families out of the state. It's simply accelerating now because of the accumulation of all of these new regulations by a legislature that's completely out of control, and now by these edicts from our governor.
Yeah. Not only that, but this bill took these independent contractors who were working for Uber and Lyft and then forced the companies to provide health care and all of this cost increasing stuff. And so the companies just basically said, fine, that's not our business model. We're just going to have to leave. And Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez just cast all of these people in the gig economy out of work in a time when they could least afford to be.
One of the state senators, I believe, said they're just mad because we've taken away their lollipops. Think about that.
Okay. Last question I have for you. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if you know about this town called Atwater, California. It has declared itself a sanctuary from shutdowns. And I have a couple of questions for you on this. First off, react to Atwater, California.
Well, they're absolutely right. The 10 counties that comprise my district, the sheriffs have all said, look, these orders are unconstitutional. We're not going to enforce them. So, we've been very fortunate here in my region to have sheriffs who actually take their oath to uphold the Constitution seriously. And it has to be upheld. I mean, this is the first time a government has ever attempted to order the indefinite home detention of an entire population based on the pretext they might catch something. Quarantine, which is a longstanding power of a government, is to specifically order an individual who has contracted a contagious disease or been exposed to one to stay home until that danger is past. It's never been used to try to order an entire population stay at home that's perfectly healthy. And if that precedent is allowed to stand, then our First Amendment rights to peaceably assemble, to redress our government for redress of grievances, to freely practice our religion, our Fifth Amendment protection, not to be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, all of those provisions of our Bill of Rights have just been made utterly meaningless.
And all these elitists in California out there, when they heard about Atwater, they got their underwear in a twist. And I just want to get you to weigh in on this because I see it as the height of hypocrisy. California, which on a regular basis violates federal immigration law, has the gall to say to Atwater, California, don't you dare violate our edicts. They're just hypocritical, are they not, sir?
Well, of course they are, but that's the authoritarian left. Among other things, they're arresting decent people for taking a walk on a public beach while they're releasing dangerous criminals. Our sheriffs are now under an edict from the state government that they are not permitted to hold a wide range of criminals that they arrest. And the result is, in Glendora, for example, we had an incident the other day where the police arrested the same person 3 separate times and had to release them. These leftists have ruined the great state of California. Congressman McClintock, always a pleasure talking with you, sir. Thank you very much.